Start game now.
Welcome Retro fans, I'm your host No Swear Gamer, and today we're going to continue our ABCs of Retro series where we go through the alphabet one letter at a time, find a game that starts with that letter and review it, and today we are on the letter P. Now, last episode I gave you this hint, Pizza Face, because there's an urban legend that this game was created by the inspiration of a pizza with a slice removed. A guy ordered a pizza, took away the slice, and he saw Pac-Man. That's right, today we're going to review Pac-Man for the Atari 2600 video computer system. And this is based on the 1980 hit arcade game, and it is often considered one of the reasons, along with E.T., for the crash due to its low quality. And we're going to really take an in-depth look and see if this game, like E.T., deserves the bashing it often gets. Now, this game, believe it or not, was actually the best-selling video game of its time and the best-selling video game of the Atari system of all time, selling over 7 million copies. The problem was the executives at Atari thought that this game would be bought by every single system owner, which there was 10 million of at the time, plus 2 million more people would buy the system just for this game. Talk about high hopes. That's right. Even though it sold 7 million copies, 12 million were produced, leaving them with 5 millions. Now, later on in the Atari's life, they did package this with the system. Maybe that's one of the ways they were getting rid of all their extra copies, and lots of copies got refunded, returned to stores back when stores still took video game returns due to some of the disappointment in the game. But if there's one thing I think Atari got right with this game, it's the packaging. I absolutely love this artwork and packaging and presentation. I love this kind of orangish color that they put the box in, and really makes the yellow Pac-Man stick out. I really like this artwork both on the manual and on the box itself. As a matter of fact, if someone made a shirt just like this color orange with this kind of design, I'd want to wear it. I even like the cool silver sticker. And you look at the manual, and this manual, whether the game's good or not, this manual's great. It's awesome. Love that smile he's getting as he eats his video wafers as the little ghosts chase him. Also like kind of the story. If you read the beginning here, it's like, we know that millions of people all over the world just love Pac-Man the arcade game. They basically say, yeah, we know what Pac-Man is, you know what it is, and here it is. So they say, so relax, get comfortable, and enjoy it in the privacy of your own home. It also tells you that if you play this game, you might be able to go back to the arcade and really improve your skills. I don't know about that because this is not exactly like the arcade game. But if you're new to the game, the object of the game is to keep Pac-Man happy and healthy in his home of Maze Land. I wonder if you ever heard that before. Yeah, this kind of almost sounds like it's a virtual pet game. Before Tamagotchi, there was Pac-Man, feed me, take me for walks, keep me happy, because, you know, that's the point of life, is to make video game characters happy. Now, they do an interesting job explaining some of the differences, saying, hey, these are video wafers. That's what you're feeding him. And you got the power pills and multivitamins. Yep, no fruit in this game, but you got the multivitamins. So absolutely love the artwork in the manual. Like the ghost kind of, it looks like he's coming out of a drain there. Absolutely think this is one of the better looking manuals, even if the game is not as good. But we're going to find out. So let's go ahead and put Pac-Man into my Atari 7800 system and find out if it's worthy of the bad reputation it gets or not. Let's roll that footage. In Pac-Man for the Atari 2600, you're a decapitated monkey wrench that has come to life and is being chased by scrubbing bubbles that turned evil after trying to clean a nuclear power plant. That's right, radiation is not our friend. Now, to help defeat these guys, you can eat little bars of soap, you can also eat magic erasers, and you can get Brillo pads for bonus points in the middle of the maze. Yeah, that's right. The first thing you notice when you play Pac-Man, if you've never played it before on the 2600, is all the changes. And I'm sure back when it first came out, that's what a lot of people noticed when they first played it in is, wait a minute, this doesn't look quite like the arcade game. Yes, Pac-Man is a maze game that most of us already know about. It is 1 or 2 players. If you play 2 players, it is alternating. But there have been a lot of changes from our beloved arcade machine. Probably the first thing that kind of sticks out to you is the changes in the maze design. Instead of being a blue maze on a black background, it is now an orange maze on a blue background. Todd Fry, the developer, must have been a Florida Gator fan. Not only that, but if you look at the ghosts are now all the same color and they blink terribly. That's because Todd Fry, the developer, the programmer, used a trick where you kind of swap back and forth. You're actually seeing 2 ghosts at a time, but they keep going back and forth, so it looks like 4. But it flickers really bad. So much so that when I did this recording, when I first was downloading it to my computer and trying to put it in my editing program, all you could see was 2 ghosts at a time. Sometimes with my program, when you have this flicker, it'll only show you one of the things. So I had to actually use a lower quality to get both of the ghosts. But it kind of gives you that grainy, grittier look, doesn't it? Makes the ghost almost scarier. Actually, the flicker isn't too bad for ghosts because they are ghosts, so that they are supposed to be, I guess, kind of invincible. But a lot of people do rag on the game for the ghost displays. Now, instead of dots, power pellets and fruit, you're eating basically dashes and squares and rectangles and what have you. So yeah, they really cut down on the look of this game. And also Pac-Man himself looks quite different. First of all, when he goes up and down, he doesn't face up and down. He always either faces left or right. He now has an eye. He didn't have that in the arcade, so there's an improvement. And when he munches, his animation looks kind of different. Instead of a crisp animation that looks like kind of a triangle opening and closing, his mouth opening and closing kind of now looks like an elderly Kermit the Frog eating his video wafers. Very, very interesting there. So graphically, Pac-Man is quite the downgrade from the game itself. You can still tell what's going on. It doesn't take too much to figure out, but yeah, it's definitely a downgrade. The music and sounds have also changed quite a bit, but I'll tell you about this. It's odd, but I am very nostalgic for the old Atari Pac-Man sounds. I don't know why it is, and these sounds were recycled a lot. Whenever you would watch a movie or maybe a TV show and they were having something to do with video games, it doesn't matter if they were playing Pac-Man or not. Half the time, you'd hear these sounds, that boo, 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 doo, 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 doo. You'd hear that all the time. And even though the sounds aren't that great, to me, they're nostalgic, and to me, they warm a little soft spot in my heart. So this is a personal taste, I understand. But yeah, music is nowhere near as good as the arcade. But it all comes down to gameplay. So how does it play? Well, it's interesting. It's still Pac-Man. Anyone who tells you that it's not at all like Pac-Man doesn't know what they're talking about. This is still Pac-Man, and we can tell it. And there's still some fun to be had in Pac-Man despite all the changes. Now, it is kind of interesting. Like, another thing that they changed in the maze is they put the exits on the top instead of the sides. Now, in this game, the ghost can also go through the exits as well, and there's like a little bit of a pause when you go through it. I also found controlling it to be just a little bit difficult. Now, during the review, I largely used a D-pad, like a Sega Genesis controller, and I found that it actually performs a lot better with a joystick. This is a game I would definitely recommend a joystick for, because when I was using the D-pad, I had more trouble making my turns, trying to enter into areas of the maze that I wanted to go to. Also, I should note this as well, that in Pac-Man, it's a lot like Lock and Chase, where once you push a direction, like up, down, left, or right, Pac-Man will keep going in that direction until he hits a wall or you push the opposite direction or a different direction to change. He never just stops. You can't stop him in the middle. He only stops if he hits a wall. Thankfully, the power pellets are at an area where it's right near a wall, so you can stop and wait for the ghost kind of there. So that was kind of a good thing that they changed in the design. If they're going to make the change, at least they gave you the ability to stop by the power pellets. But yeah, he won't stop on a dime like Mousetrap. It's more like Lock and Chase where he will keep going. But yeah, when I played the game, several times I felt like I died just because I didn't make a turn when I wanted to, even though I thought I was making the movement. Now again, if I used a joystick, it was better, but it wasn't perfect. There were still many times where I thought I would go up and I just kept going left or right, or I thought I was going to go left, but I kept going up or down. So there was some frustration there. Also, a very interesting thing with the kind of collision detection. It seems like if just a little tiny bit of the ghost touches you, even a part you can't see, you're dead. There's many times where I thought I was going to eat the power pellet before the ghost, but the ghost got me instead and killed me. And the wafers, eating the wafers or the dots or the pellets, you actually have to cover the whole thing in order to eat it. There's many times where I thought I sufficiently ate the wafer, but nope, I didn't completely cover it. So it's kind of cheap there. The ghost can barely touch you and it affects you, but you have to completely touch the video wafers. So yeah, that was kind of a frustration, but I still had some fun. It's still Pac-Man, and it's still the family-friendly game that most people know, unless your family is offended by Kermit the Frog's eating ghosts. This game should be fine with your family. This should be a cheap game to find on eBay. It was overly produced. You'll see it in lots left and right, so it shouldn't be a problem to get this game on the cheap. So would I recommend it? Where would I rank it? Well, first of all, I wouldn't necessarily recommend this game unless you are, a die-hard Pac-Man Atari 2600 fan, but in that case, you probably already have the game. But where would I rank it is kind of interesting. I found, looking at my list, that I was really debating what I liked better, this or Lock and Chase. Lock and Chase, which is at number, 16, Lock and Chase, well, it looked better, it ran smoother, it didn't have flicker, and it controlled a little bit better too. But you know what? I really like the fact in Pac-Man that I can eat the power pellets and turn the tables on the ghost. Now, I forgot to mention this. When you eat the power pellets and you try and get the ghost, every time you eat a ghost, your score doubles. So if you eat all 4 ghosts, you can get 300 points. So you definitely want to try and do that. But anyways, comparing this to Lock and Chase, I enjoyed that aspect of the game. Turning around trying to eat the ghost much more than I enjoyed the whole locking doors in Lock and Chase. And the frustration, man, Lock and Chase, it was just really hard to lock a cop up. So looking at my list, I think I'm going to put Pac-Man right above Lock and Chase. It's going to be my new number 16. But check this out. Look at my list. I like E.T. better. That's right. I think E.T. is a better game than Pac-Man on the 2600. 2 games that are debated and constantly being told that they're the worst games of all time. But you know what? There's a lot of other games on the Atari 2600, like Tax Avoiders and other shovelware, that I think was more the cause for the crash than these games, that are definitely worse than these games. You can enjoy Pac-Man and you can enjoy E.T. Doesn't mean there's not better games out there. There's a lot of better games out there, but they still can have some time for enjoyment. So that's where I'm going to put it, right there on my number 16 spot. All right. So anyways, next up is the letter Q, and I will give this hint. It's plunger time. So join us next time right here on the No Swear Gamer as we explore plunger time with the letter Q. I will see you later.